it do, chicken stew, y'all? It's the Copper Color King. We back in this bad boy with some more good content. Today I got a nice informative one for the fans, man. We got Chief Amos from the Attakapa's tribe, the Attakapa's nation, the Attakapa Ishka nation, Michael Amos. We got an interview conducted on June 23rd, all the way back in 2010. Right, we got a copper-colored brother here to speak his piece. I got a video for y'all, as a matter of fact. He not here physically, but we gonna hear him speak his piece. I've been told, folks, man, and make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and click that notification bell to stay up to date on all content, man. Follow on Instagram, TikTok, Copper Color Cultures. Drop a comment if you. Yo. It's the Copper Color King, man, back in this bad boy with some more good content. Some more informative content, some more history, new history we bring it to the channel, man, every weekend. We got some fire. I just want the people to like, comment, and subscribe. Click that notification bell to stay up to date on all content, man. Stay plugged in like an extension cord. We're going through mad different books, watching different videos, interviews, blogs, just gathering a lot of information regarding the history of the copper-colored Aboriginal here in America. See, a lot of people think that this stuff is false, all a lie, all a part of a facade, a false identity that we are trying to create as black people who don't know where we come from. But the truth is, man, like I always say, we have the DNA. We have the GNA of the copper-colored folks who dwelt this land, my man. We got Chief Michael Amos of the Attakapa Ishka Indian Nation. I got a video. The elder about to speak his piece. This is big drop right here. Right? Big drop. This interview was in 2010. This is big drop because what they say? There was no such thing as a black Indian? Well, we got a brother here to call that cap. Right? That's cap. Because if you look at his skin, if you look at Michael Amos's skin, what would you call this brother? Everybody in their right mind, right, that thinks like me or anyone else on this earth would consider this brother to be a Negro. Right now, of course, that would be his classification in today's terms, right? He's an African American, a black man. But this brother has deep ancestry. So I'm not going to continue to talk about it. We going to react to it together. Right? This is my first time even going through it. Right? My first time even watching part one. This is going to be a 2-part video. So let's just listen to the brother speak his piece. I've been trying to tell y'all, we are the tribes, man. That blood flows also fluently through the copper-colored black man and woman, kings and queens of today. Right? Like I said, a lot of people not gonna believe me. Why they not gonna believe me? What, because you ain't know we was colored already? Right? Or that image they got of the Indian now got y'all so messed up in the head that you don't even think that it's possible to believe that we had colored folks in America. What, let's say 500 BC? 400 BC? A long long time ago. But people act like this stuff cannot really exist. You know, I'm just pulling out different images right now, like just to give some smoke to y'all, right? Give y'all some smoke, like before we even go into the video, right? This is a great one right here. The American Negro, a deep copper color, straight black hair, high cheekbones, eyes black, sunken, large faces, and robust bodies. The American Negro, copper colored, a deep copper color. And then they have the African or Negro race, a jet black skin. Well, I don't know enough black people to say, hey, you got jet black skin. It don't work like that. I live in New York. So I could say 70 to 80% of the black people in New York don't have jet black skin, but they're still black. Very, very, very interesting, right? These classifications, man, I tell y'all. But I ain't gonna continue to talk. Let's let the chief speak his gems. Let me know how y'all feel about this one in the comments below.
I have a few questions here I want to try to get to you.
So the interviewer has a few
First
questions for
Chief,
him. We're gonna ask him a couple questions.
Your name
Oh, Michael Amos,
and how old are you, Chief?
67.
And what's your occupation?
I'm retired.
And what did you do prior to that?
I was in the military, retired military.
Oh, okay.
Served in the military.
What's your blood quantum?
Oh, mine, I got 25%.
And your tribal membership?
He asked him, what's your blood quantum? Son said, well, mine, I got 25%. Does he look like a 25% having black man? 25%? What's your blood quantum? I got 25%. Does he look like it? We just described high cheekbones, large faces, robust bodies, a deep copper color. That man got a red hue. Right? That's the definition of a redskin, the red hue. That red hue we all born with when we babies, as babies. Let's continue.
You mean blood quantum?
Yes.
Okay, it's not required.
Okay.
It's not required.
Only the lineage is required.
Okay.
I just did mine because I wanted to.
Okay.
It's not required. No.
All right. And what's your tribal membership then?
Oh, we got about 1,500 tribal members.
The brother said for his tribe, it's not required. It's all about lineage, right? Your true ancestral history, your bloodline, not your blood quantum. He just did it because he wanted to. Because he wanted to, not because he had to. He wanted to. Continue.
And I guess that would be your clan membership then, huh?
Right, yeah, totally.
Okay. And what's your tribal position?
Right now we're pursuing state recognition, and also we on the federal registry for federal recognition.
Okay.
In fact, our number is 309 for federal recognition. So
And what's your position in the tribe?
I'm the principal chief of the tribe. We cover Southwest Louisiana and Southeast Texas.
Okay.
So
Okay. What is the name of your tribe in their native language?
Southeast Louisiana and what? He said South Louisiana, and let's play that back. This is a shout out to them folks.
we cover Southwest Louisiana and Southeast Texas.
Southwest
Okay.
Louisiana,
So
Southeast Texas. Shout out to them folks, man.
What
The
is
Mardi
name
Gras Indians, man.
of your tribe in their native language?
Ishak, I-S-H-A-K, Ishak.
And
Ishak.
how did your people receive that name? How did y'all get that name?
I don't really know. Do you have any idea on that? I don't know. I know he came about, the slur word was Attakapa, okay?
Okay.
Was given by the Choctaw, and then when the Spanish and the French came over, they kept the word up, Attakapa.
Now, if y'all watch my videos, this is a true story. This is how you know this is verified. This is a true story. If y'all watch my videos, y'all know, we know, true story. Why? Choctaw gave the name to these people because they was running around and so-called eating folks, right? Partaking in cannibalism, right? Attakapa is another form of man-eater, flesh eater, right? But it could be corrupted. It could be corrupted because what we know about history now, we got a bigger understanding of these things, is that different tribes took over, reclaimed land, changed a couple things up, introduced some of their own ways. On top of that, the Choctaw described those people as being white. This man is darker than me, right? So he knows, he has a lot of these facts and details correct. Question is now, the term Attakapa, is that a term given to the true Attakapa, or are these people really flesh eaters? This is a question that I asked after even hearing this myself, right? Because remember, we got to follow the timeline, right? It's a fact, like I said, they got the name from the Choctaw. But what else comes with that? The Choctaw called these people that for a reason. Let's listen. Let's see if he say some more.
But our real name was really Ishite,
Ishite, okay.
So that would be the name from the beginning of time, with the tribe.
Ishite, okay.
Where
Makes
did
sense.
your tribe, what is the origin
If
of
the
your
Choctaw
tribe?
gave
When
them the
your tribe
name, that
began,
doesn't mean
where
that
did it start
that's
from?
their origin name.
Well, there's a lot of saying. Some say that we came from the sea. They don't really know, but the Ishite been here for like 4,000 years, BC. So
The
we don't
Ishite
really
been in
know. There's a
America
lot of
since
write-ups about
BC,
Egypt
before
and
Christ.
stuff like that during the
And
Ice
connecting these
Age.
people now to the ancient Maya. They've been here for that long. Remember, we got some tribes in Florida, some folks them saying that don't call us Seminole, call us Maya. We've been here just as long. Making the connections, man. Let's continue.
But there's nothing really solid that I know of that where it actually originated from, except here.
Okay. Where did your people come from? How did they end up habitating here? How did you get to Louisiana, so to speak, or where in Louisiana did you?
Okay, the tribe was basically Opelousas in the St. Martinsville, Honorville area, all the way to Lake Charles, Calcasieu, through Alexandria, through Natchitoches. And also, if you go into East Texas, to Galveston, Matagorda Bay, all the way down. We have 2 clans in Texas and 4 in Louisiana, and which goes even below New Orleans, that we have a clan in that area.
So how did y'all end up habitating in those areas? Was it because of what you did, or climate, or food, or economics, or what?
All is basically climate, but then that's basically where the Ishite were. You see, if you go back up to 1802, all this was called Attakapa territory. See, so the Ishite were here all this time, and that was we inhabited all this land and all this area, pretty much, all the way to Galveston.
The Ishite been there all this time, so he's not tracing their ancestral lineage or crossing the Bering Strait. This is not no Bering Strait theory bullcrap. Right? This is not no Bering Strait theory bullcrap. We could most likely probably trace them to the migrators coming through Mexico. Right? But they've been here on American soil. Right? The interviewer probably think this brother gonna say, "Oh yeah, we came across the Bering Sea land bridge from Asia." That's not the case, man. It's not the situation. The brother is preaching right now. Just listen.
What kind of a economy did they deal in while it was up in this area? What was their economy?
Well, at the time, there was no economy in such, you would say, except for the pottery they did, and some of them live on the coast, naturally, and eat the oysters and stuff like that. And we had some of the inland, you would call it, the prairie, did some farming and stuff like that,
So hunting and
Masters of the land,
agriculture, was that
cultivators of the
part what
land.
you did?
Right, yes.
What did you basically grow, and what was it that you hunted during those times? What was it that they hunted during those times?
Oh, they hunted buffalo. There was buffalo here too at that time. Go back to the time.
Big drop.
Just about all the animals, deers, rabbits, whatever is here, basically here. And as far as what they grew, corn, squash, stuff like that,
Maize, the cultivator crop. They were hunting deer, buffalo, growing corn and squash. There's no more buffalo, because the United States government murked them all off, right? They murked them all off so that they can make use of the land, control the population, right? Benefit off of the crops and the food, right? But he said it himself, the corn, the squash. Let's get into it. Let's continue.
What basically they do today, what come out today.
Okay. Was warfare important during that time? Warfare?
No, it wasn't. The Ishka was known as very peaceful people.
Peaceful people.
There was really no wars.
So we're not talking about these flesh
time.
eaters.
However, if you go back, that's how we got the name Attakapa, because there was the Fear tribe. Was the largest tribe. That's what it was, Aboriginal tribe. So that's what happened there. But there was not really no wars that we have recorded.
So you guys had no natural enemies, anybody that was really enemies of your
No,
tribe?
no.
Okay. Let's see. When did your tribe first encounter? How can I say it? The Europeans or African Americans or blacks. When did they first have an encounter with them? When did they first meet them or come across them?
Well, that will go back to way in the 1600s, or even during Columbus time, when they migrated here. But we were the first one here.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody came, but the years would be, am I correct, around 1400, I guess, huh? Or
Contact.
the content.
After 1492, certainly from the archaeological record, you would look to the Jesuits as the first to make contact. And then the early map makers, the record showed 1690, the first coastal mapping of the area of Louisiana west of the Mississippi involved an initial contact with Attakapa.
Mm-hmm.
And they, the Spanish mapping crew started at the Calcasieu moving east, and they encountered fires along the shore somewhere along eastern Cameron Parish, maybe western Dominion. We don't know the site exactly, but
The colonizing of Louisiana,
there were fires, there was human presence.
Mm-hmm.
So they went ashore and did meet the Attakapa, and then
Indian slavery in Louisiana. Check
Attakapa
out my old
shared their
videos.
knowledge of the geography, which was an amazing feat to me, because I envisioned a major language barrier. But in the history of that meeting, it was shown that 10 years before this meeting, which was an accidental thing, but that the two young cabin boys, 9, 10-year-old, washed up on the beach alive, and the Attakapa picked them up and cared for them, and they had lived with them. So they spoke Spanish, and had lived with the Attakapa for 10 years, so they could deal with this barrier and interpret.
Tribes were living with Spaniards years before they even invaded the country. You have folks washing up on the beaches, most likely coming from the Caribbean islands, right? Sailing through that Gulf current that's going to automatically take you to the coast of Florida, Louisiana, and Texas, right? Because there's a current there that would automatically take you there. We covered this. So he's explaining how a lot of these folks knew and understood Spanish, right? Because they already had prior contact with the ones who were already on the Caribbean islands. This is probably like 1500.
And save a decade of exploration, because prominent in the mapping was the area Vermilion Bay, Marsh Island, the Chapalaya, Bayou Lafourche, and they laid this all out. But most prominent in that mapping issue was the Vermilion Bayou and Salas Pass.
Hold on one second. Let's see. Can we see what we got going here this time? All right. Let me get your name.
Harold Shuffler.
And you are.
I'm chairman of the Cajun group of the Sierra Club and friend of the Attakapa.
Okay, good. All right. Let's see if we can get this going here. Okay.
Let's get back to the chief.
Hold on just one sec.
But as my understanding, the first contact with the Attakapa and a lot of Native Americans across the Southwest, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, was in the 16th century.
Mm-hmm.
When the Jesuits came and converted many Native Americans to Catholicism.
And I guess that would be the impact that they had on the peoples in their lives.
Right, absolutely, and I think that there was a strong, very strong part of the Spanish occupation was the conversion of Native Americans.
So, what kind of impact did they
Biggest part
have
of
on the
Spanish
lives of the
occupation was the conversion
Attakapa?
of the
What
tribes.
did they do? What kind of influence did they have?
The biggest part of the enslavement of your people was the conversion of the religious worship of your people, of our ancestors. That's the biggest impact, was the conversion. You no longer know what you're supposed to technically devote yourself to, right? Because of this conversion, we have this long trail of Christianity and Catholicism in America that lasts from about 1500 till now. It's years and years and years of religious oppression. Right, that's what I call it, religious oppression.
Well, they sort of, they brought clothing in, they started changing the clothing a little bit and bringing their way of life into this area. So the tribes sort of started changing their ways a little bit, and as time continued, as today, you would say more or less modernized now compared to back to the ancient times, with tools and material and stuff like that.
That's a strong point. The use of steel tools and shovels and knives and pots and pans quickly displaced pottery and rock tools.
Okay. I guess you had a lot of interaction with they had a lot of.
Where's all the pottery, right? The pottery is in the museums now. You're using spoons, forks, knives, and whatnot. All of the pottery is in the museums. Relics of the history here in America, they put in the museum, right? The cultivation of creating these. Just imagine if you still knew how to make spoons, forks, and all of that stuff out of pottery. Not having to pay for it. Again, another thing that we use every day, created by copper-colored people, that we are now forced to pay for. Add that on to water, right? That's all in the same bracket at this point.
Interaction between the Europeans and the Attakapa?
I would initially think that it was mainly religious. Of course, if you look at Las Adias at Natchitoches, it was the capital of Texas from 1710 to 1761. There was an enormous Indian presence at that fort. And, of course, that was a Jesuit outpost, but it was the capital of Texas, and it was the head of the El Camino Real Trail, which was from the Red River to Mexico City. 1,300 miles, a 6-month ride in a covered wagon, and so I would think there had to be cooperation in dealing with fordings of the rivers and trails and those trails were often the Indian trails that we used.
So there was quite a bit of interaction, I would say.
Absolutely. And the record is very clear on that.
Okay. How was the tribe traditionally organized, and is it basically still organized the same?
Basically, we were scattered. You go back in time of history, and it said scattered from all the way to Galveston Bay. So we did come together in gatherings, different times, different locations, which basically we do today, because we cover a large territory. We're not like most of the tribe in just one concentrated area. So
how are y'all organized? How is it organized? Is there an organizational structure, like this tribe does this, this person is this, and
okay. Yes, we do have what you call like a governing body.
okay.
Okay, incorporated, yes. So we do have council members and just the whole layout, yes.
Was it originally done like that prior to that, or how was it done? Did you have one chief that controlled everybody, or how was the governing situation back at that time?
It was basically almost the same thing. You did have a chief, you had clan leaders, which is basically council members in a sense. But they had basically one chief for that area, you know, so it was basically the same thing.
Is it matriarchal or patriarchal? And do you have one person that's that, or is it governed, by more than one, or how is it?
Right. That's why we have a council. So you have the president or the chairman, like the chief's the president.
Okay.
And then you got the council members under him, in which you have meetings and discussion, and the decisions comes from there.
So it's been that way all along. Then,
basically, yes, basically.
What's your traditional tribal religion?
As far as we can remember, when they intermingled with the Europeans, it became Catholic. That's why in St. Martinsville, in front of St. Marcus de Paul's church.
See what I mean? The brother don't even know, right? He don't even know. And that's kind of sad, right? That's kind of sad. I'm not going to sit here and speak like he don't know, right? We don't even know, because we still got to finish what he about to say. But the fact that the first thing he mentions is the Catholicism just goes to show how bad that mental enslavement was, right? Because there's no knowledge of any prehistoric religious worship, right? It left along with everything else. I remember they burned the books, they destroyed everything. So a lot of these things weren't even allowed to make it to the next generation. This is what I'm saying though, right? He just like the rest of us. And this is the craziest part.
Church, see a big statue of the Attakapa. So they were predominantly Catholic.
And it's basically the same way now then, huh?
Basically, yes.
In a lot of societies, you have different treatment of children and your elderly. How were the children treated, and how was the elderly treated?
Back in time, according to history, kids were always looked out for, very, very much so. And elderly were always respected, for their wisdom and stuff. And the tribe was really together. The women did certain things, and the men mostly hunt, and stuff like that.
What are the traditional crafts? What were the traditional crafts of the people back at that time?
Oh, we were hunters and fishermen. That was the basic survival, or maybe you can add to it.
Right, and the 1690 contact, this is coming from an LSU fisheries historian, and he gave a presentation about a year ago that involved this map making effort, and at that time they also looked at the fact that the Indians The Attakapa hunted in November, December, January, when the weather was cold, when the meat would last. So it's the only time they hunted, and they evidently used fires to move the animals and so forth. I think it's very important to point out that they had a great knowledge of the geography, and that they didn't have written maps. It was all in their minds, and which they were willingly shared with the Spaniard map makers.
They had great knowledge of geography. The reason why these folks know how to made their maps, the maps that they made, wasn't because of navigation and exploration, right? The tribes them was giving them the drop. Like, yo, this is over here, this is over there. If you sail to the east, west, blah, 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 blah. Remember, we learned about the Great Fabusa and the Choctaw, right? The staff, the pole staff that they used, and their magic makers, their great healers, their shamans, right? Their priests, right? Like Moses, pretty much would use the spiritual energy that their Fabusa possessed, right? And it guided them, right? And it was a message from the Most High himself, right? It's like Moses and his staff, right? Or like that cross that people carry on their necks today, which is not even a true representation of a symbol of the Most High, right? That's a whole entire symbol within itself. That's a symbol of reincarnation, resurrection, right? Not Jesus or Christianity. That's a symbol of resurrection. But that staff was something entirely different. He said they had great knowledge of geography. Well, everything was gifted to them from the Most High, right? This is their lot. This is their land. Gifted from the Most High. So why wouldn't they know? Come on, let's make it make sense, man.
And they emphasized the importance of vermilion because it allowed them to go all over the country. The vermilion went into the Bayou Teche at what is now Orneville. It went into the Bayou Catawba. It was what is now Port Barry. And the Bayou Catawba flowed into the Chafalaya, which joined with the Mississippi and the Red. The Red that could go all the way up into New Mexico, northern Texas, and of course the Mississippi would carry them all over the country.
Mm-hmm. It's like a superhighway.
It was a superhighway. It was the interstate of the day. But the sharing of that knowledge
America, a superhighway,
gave the Spaniards probably 5 decades of exploration worth of knowledge. So the fact that they were kind and helpful to
the Spaniards were provided with 5 decades worth of knowledge. Do you know what that means? 5 decades worth of knowledge. Madness. What does that tell y'all? 5 decades worth of knowledge. These people were not invaders, right? To know this much about the land, damn straight they've been here since 400 BC or whatever BC he said in the beginning. Damn straight, right? 4 decades worth of knowledge. Let that sink in.
The 2 cabin boys allowed this knowledge to be shared, and which completely contradicts this idea of cannibalism or the idea they were warlike. And which completely contradicts it was the interstate of the day. But sharing of that knowledge gave the Spaniards probably 5 decades of exploration worth of
5
knowledge.
decades, sorry.
So the fact that they were kind and helpful to the 2 cabin boys allowed this knowledge to be shared, and which completely contradicts this idea of cannibalism or the idea they were warlike.
Big drop.
Because as the map making crew moved to the east, they did encounter hostile Indians as they came into Baie La Force in that region. as the record shows. So the Attakapa, that initial encounter, certainly dispels this idea of warlike or cannibalism.
Good. If you, what type of, what did they do? What type of crafts? When I say crafts, I mean like, what kind of jobs did they have? What did they have jobs? Did they make things? What type of things did they make or manufacture, if they did anything like that?
They did pottery. Pottery was the big thing at that time. Making little tools and stuff and trade with other tribes.
Mm-hmm.
That was the basic way of life,
Barter system.
survival, basically. They were very good at whatever they did, but the pottery and stuff like that.
Do you have any idea, or can you describe to us? You wanted
Yeah,
to say-
you can add that.
I just want to share that the 1802 the Spanish archaeological team that went to Brienne Lake and Lake Charles has a good record of what they did. First of all, they recorded the Attakapa language at that time, the first recordation of the language. And they could again accomplish that because the chief of the 150, 200 member band at South Lake Charles, and that's a site that is currently preserved. It is on private property, but it is a campsite that is preserved. They could gain all that knowledge about how they fished and how they move with the game. They were on high ground during the summer months, and they went down to the marshes and to the coast to hunt buffalo and elk and all these critters that were down there in the marsh and your plain ridges, and the geese came, then the ducks came, and so that was an opportunity to move with the food supply, so to speak. But that all that knowledge could be shared, the language and the fishing habits, and they fished according to this, and I didn't read it completely, but I got interested in the fishing. They fished with nets. They fished with a poison. When they would find the schools of fish they had from the prairie plants, they had devised a poison that would shock the fish when they would find schooling fish, and then they would net them. And of course they used traditional hooks and so forth. But the fact that they were somewhat locally nomadic, that they followed the game.
Well, the language was recorded.
Lake Charles.
Is the language still spoken? And what was the traditional language?
It was, well, the language was recorded, go back in 1885. Swanson and Gadget recorded the Attakapa language, and it's documented in the Smithsonian Institute, Washington, D.C. It's a dictionary. We have a dictionary of the language.
In that damn Smithsonian, the language, the ancient language of the Attakapa in the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. It's crazy because me and Cuz going there soon. Thanks for giving me the drop, OG.
Yeah, some still speak it a little bit, but we're bringing it back. We're trying to teach, bring the language back,
And you're trying to make it traditional, or
Right.
trying to make it so that the kids know and
Right.
others know what it was all about.
Yes.
You mentioned a little bit about the medicine. What was traditional medicine like? Roots, herbs, whatever. What did they gather? What did they do?
Yeah, that was roots, herbs, and there was certain plants that they would use, like the teas and stuff like that. And well, maybe you could add something.
And where are these things today, man?
Well, I guess the best statement about that.
They replaced all of that with pharmaceuticals. Let's hear what else they got to say.
Is from a botanist who has spent, I guess, the last 20 years working on the Cajun prairies. He has located about 200 acres of original prairie. And from that, he has documented over 800 different species of plants.
800
And one of the statements he makes
plants.
about that is that the Native Americans, especially the Attakapa, knew about these plants and what their values were, and from thousands of years of dealing with them. and we as Europeans treated the Native Americans as ignorant savages. But they had thousands of years of knowledge about what these plants could do to help, to benefit.
All of these different varieties of plants, they had thousands of years of knowledge of what these plants could do and help and benefit the human body. All of this knowledge, where is the knowledge? Where is it? Why don't we have this knowledge today? What happened? Come on, man. We talking about slavery? Y'all stuck on slavery? Slavery? DEI? What happened to this 1,000-year-old knowledge? It's bigger than that. But yeah, you going stroll to McDonald's, right, tomorrow for that breakfast. For that early morning breakfast. Right? And then you're going to eat some more fast food later in the day just because it's convenient. Even if you did have the knowledge, what you going to do with it, right? You need your fast food. It's already programmed in you. Where is the knowledge? Bring back the knowledge.
And we lost that. And it's a crime that we've lost it.
So what type of plants would be used for, like, any number of illness, like for swelling or mosquitoes or headaches? Do you still practice any of that, or any of those? Do you use any of those old, I guess you could say, home remedies or anything like that?
Well, as far as plants go, they've more or less been destroyed, right? You would say.
Woo!
They're not there, they're non-existent.
A lot of it's not. A lot of it was lost to the plow,
Right.
and but some of the remedies still persist. The camphor tree, for instance, for boiling camphor and the mist that comes from it helps people with a cold and asthma. The toothache tree, which
There's a whole tree that produces mist that help people with asthma. But yet they got you taking albuterol on the asthma machine. But where's this mist from the tree? Why we can't take that instead from the asthma machine? They said majority of the plants were destroyed during the plow. Boy, they wiped out the buffalo, the plants, the books, the knowledge. Where is it? We just read it, that the knowledge got burned, right? The knowledge got burned. They burned everything. Everything must get destroyed, right? We will now, this is what you call subjugation, y'all, right? Repopulation, controlling the population, population control. They've been doing these things. Like, people, y'all think this is a conspiracy now? They've been doing it, right? That's the crazy part. Let's continue.
you just, it numbs the gums.
What we
You
gonna
got a
do about
toothache, you just grab one of these leaves and chew it. These are carryovers from the Attakapa knowledge. Some of these things have persisted. Filet for gumbo. I mean, it's not just medicinal. It's cooking. It's the whole thing. And how the issue of filet, the knowledge of how to preserve it, when to gather the leaves, which is only a 5 or 6 day period, end of August, early September. That knowledge persists. So some of it really did survive, but a lot of it we lost.
What was traditional meals like for an Attakapa?
You say from the sea, oysters, fish, and of course corn. Corn was always part of the
Come on
native
now.
food. But the Attakapa, the one living on the coast especially, was from the sea, from the water. Oysters, shrimp, fish, alligators, everything, all it from the water.
And some of the travesty of the archaeological record is the destruction of the Attakapa sites, which, we have, and especially in Vermilion Parish around White Lake, we have 2 enormous sites that were pretty much destroyed. The Alligator Mound was one of them. The Square Mound was an enormous site, and it was the only incident in the Louisiana archaeological record of Native Americans building a road. There's a
Ooh.
5-mile road from White Lake to the Oak Ridge that was to the north, and it was a shell road. They had an enormous mound there that, and there's I think 4 miles in that. We don't know a lot about it because it was destroyed before the archaeologists could really get to it and document it. Very little of it remains, but some part of it remains. It was destroyed in 1931, and we know that there were thousands of bodies on Earth in that, and they even make the comment they were using the shells to build the road from Intercoastal City to Abbeville. And there's a comment in the Abbeville Medicinal that the bones of the Native Americans will work just as good as the shells to pave the roads. I have that, and it is appalling to me, you know. And the travesty of that is, you look at another enormous site that I remember was the pyramid mounds at the mouth of Vermilion Bayou, where the Vermilion Bayou went into Vermilion Bay. As a child, we went and played on them, and these were 3 mounds that were about 40 feet high. In 9 or 10-year-old memory, that's what I remember. No.
So the brother just told us, right? In addition to the plants being destroyed, the brother just let us know that they destroyed the mounds. They had a road. A system of traverse built with shells, destroyed. Right? Even the bodies removed from the mound. This was in the 1930s. Right, so once they even discovered more of this stuff existing in the late 18th, early 19th century, they still found a way to get rid of it. Right, destroying the history. You don't know nothing else. Right, this is why the brother even probably had to have someone else there to help him answer the questions, because someone who needs to know true history. Right, what happened? Right, destruction of a nation, destruction of a people. Even the tribespeople of today can't even make claims of knowing what has existed before. Right? Even these Siberians and Mongols, right? These newcomers, invaders, they don't know of anything that has existed here before. Right? The history was destroyed. But these folks been here since before Christ. I mean, that was a big drop. Chief Michael Amos of the Attakapa's Ishka, or Isha Nation. Right, their true name, the Isha Nation, the Isha tribe. And they've been here for thousands of years. Right, they debunked the whole man-eater thing, carrot thing. Right, I guess that was just a name given to the giants that folks encountered, because they did describe them to be giants. Right, but these brothers spoke nothing about giants. And we talking about 8-9 foot tall people. So again, true history. This was true history right in front of our face. Chief Michael Amos, man. Part 1. Let me know in the comments below how y'all feel about this one, man. Let's run this one up. This is a great video. Very informative. They gave us a lot, and we heard it from the horse's mouth. Part 2 coming real soon. Stay in tune. Like and comment. Subscribe. Click that notification bell. Stay plugged in like an extension cord. Follow us on all social media, Copper Color Cultures. And until next one, man. Love y'all.